We've been engaged over the last few months in discussions with the TUC about these issues. These discussions have been constructive, positive and frank. And there is a commitment on behalf of both the government and the unions to seeing these talks through, and these talks will continue this month and later into July. So it is all the more disappointing that there are a minority of unions who seem hell-bent on premature strike action before these discussions are even complete. To justify strike action, they are misrepresenting the government's position and feeding scare stories. I say to the members of those unions, a strike now might be in the union boss's interest, but it is not in yours. Don't let them sacrifice your pension for their political platform. Only 1 in 5 PCS members voted for strike action on Wednesday. That in itself demonstrates, I think, how the vast majority of PCS members realise that strike action now is unnecessary. Of course, it may be that those who oppose change think they can force the government to change its mind. This head-in-the-sand approach is a colossal mistake. The government will reform public sector pensions, and this is the time to shape that change, not to try and block it.
You've got a real problem, haven't you, with industrial...
We are all living longer. That means more years spent in work as well as in retirement. To keep the best pensions in the country, you will have to contribute more. Those contributions will support your pension, not subsidise the pension of top earners. So when you do reach retirement age, the pension you receive will be broadly as generous for low and middle income earners as it is now. At the same time, we are protecting the pension that you have earned to date. We are reforming for the future, but we will not touch the pension that you have already earned. Now, working longer and paying more may not be what public service workers or indeed what anyone else wants to hear, but it is simply a fact of life for every single person in this country, whether you work in the public or the private sector.
Including actuaries, you see that a 3% contribution rate produces a rise in opt-outs that would actually destroy.
In fact, personal contributions compared to taxpayer contributions over the years have gone down. For instance, when the teachers' pension scheme began, employee and taxpayer contributions were equal at 5%. Today, however, current members pay around 6%, with taxpayers contributing more than double that at 14%. This disparity is replicated across public service schemes, where the taxpayer consistently pays more. In the NHS, for example, employee contributions vary from 5.5 to 8.5%, whereas the taxpayer again contributes 14%. Civil service employees contribute between 1.5 and 3.5%, whereas the taxpayer contributes 19%. It's only right that public service workers, like everyone else, work that bit longer and contribute that bit longer to their pension. For that reason, we are proposing to link the normal pension age to the state pension age, as Lord Hutton recommended. That is, we proposed linking the age you can draw your occupational pension to the age that you can draw your state pension, and the two would continue to track each other in the future, as we as a society benefit from greater longevity. Through this change, we would move the proportion of adult life spent in retirement for public service workers back to around a third, roughly where it was in the 1980s. The exception is the uniformed services, the armed forces, police and firefighters, where the pension age has historically been lower to reflect the unique nature of their work, and we accepted in the budget Lord Hutton's recommendations in this case that 60 should be the benchmark normal pension age for uniformed services. That for future pension accruals, the defined benefit would be linked to the average salary over your career and not your final salary. A career average scheme would guard against the risks and costs that come from individuals jumping to higher salaries in the last few years of their career. It would mean that everyone would get broadly the same amount for every pound they put in. And I think this would be an inherently fairer system for the future.